Welcome to the Straight from the Heart show. I'm Utamar Miraz. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today I've got a very, very special guest, and her name is Dilara Tetik, and she's a relationship coach, and she's phenomenal at what she's doing. The reason I asked her to come on my show, I've been watching her closely for a few months, and she's making some phenomenal moves. And I really enjoy the work that she's doing, and I feel like she's got amazing value to give. Welcome to the show, Dilara. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for coming to share your knowledge with us. And we really appreciate that, and I'm pretty sure my viewers appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Can we start off, most of the time I start off my shows, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, please.
Well, I'm a life and relationship coach, and basically my background is I worked as an accountant in City for about over 10 years because my degree is economics, so it's all related to it, and I've been into personal development many years. And in 2015 March, I attended to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within, UPW, and genuinely unleashed the power within in me. Since then, I'm more dedicated student into personal development. And last year, by the end of December, I decided that I wanted to quit my job and dive into coaching personal development industry full time. Since then, I'm coaching clients in different topics. There's mainly self-love, self-confidence, relationships, ego versus love, and so many different areas. But basically, apart from entrepreneurship, I coach everyone in pretty much any topics they need. And there's certain areas I'm very passionate about, and I decided that I wanted to hold a meetup a while back. I can't remember, it was probably about 3 months ago. And I started with first self-love and then goal settings and the areas that I'm passionate about. Then I started to talk about relationships and masculine and feminine energy. It became, on that topic, one of the most popular meetups in London. Every week we start to double people. And then we held our first workshop 3 weeks ago, and that was quite a good success as well. And going forward now, me and my partner is going to focus on relationship side of it, not necessarily masculine and feminine energy, but in all areas of relationships. And we're going to hold different meetups again, and then we're going to hold workshops throughout the year. So it seems that that's going to be the direction that I will be taking. Because also, I'm very passionate in this area as well. But also I have a side project just for myself, which is empowering women. Because while I was actually learning a lot and doing a lot of researching and running these meetups and workshops, I found out a lot about all the challenges women have to go through. Of course, I know that, I personally know that on a personal level, but I didn't realize the depth of it, if you like. And I think women need a safe space to be able to talk, to be able to share, to be able to become vulnerable. And that's my side project, which I'm working on the side at the moment. So that's pretty much who I am.
Wow. I really like the female empowering, because I'm doing my male empowering things at the moment. So I'm creating, and it's really good that you're providing that safe space. But for a man, it's a lot harder as well to find that safe place and being around a male environment to have that place of vulnerability, because obviously what society dictates what masculinity needs to be, and what masculinity really is, what I've learned through the 39 years of my life, through trials and tribulations. And I really think it's really good what you're doing as well, because I find with women, a lot of women, especially powerful and successful women, they're really closed in. This is the experience that I get. And I'm really, really grateful that you're providing that space and talking on that. And when would you be launching that?
I want to do that a little bit on the side, because what I've done with the whole masculine and feminine side of it, I've done it a lot, I exposed it a lot on the social media, but I want to be very careful when I do the woman empowerment side of it, because I quite like the fact that you actually touched on that. A lot of powerful women, they're really closed up, because obviously I work in the city many years, and I was single for many years as well, and I have many friends that who are very successful, very powerful, but they are single. And this is not about being single or in a relationship or being married or having kids or anything like that. But what I found out that when women had to step into their masculine energy in the business world, they forget what's the line when it gets to the intimate relationships, which is they need to step into their feminine power. And that's a big challenge. But the area that I'm passionate about is that a lot of women out there, they're aware of their masculine energy, but they are so scared to be vulnerable because they see that feminine energy as a weakness. And there's so many things going on. That's why you see a lot of women being very successful, but they are either closing their hearts, where it's the safety is not getting into relationships, or they get into relationships and relationships fail, which they feel like ultimately they're a failure as well. And I'm not even going to go to the fact that they don't even want to have kids, because ultimately they find it a big responsibility and they want to justify it. So there's so many things going on in women's world as well. And I'm grateful for yourself and all the many guys like yourself and coaches that they do things with men. I'm 100% aware of the fact that it's harder for men, but I think I believe it's equally hard for women at the moment as for men, because it's the way it works. Like, we know how it's perceived in the outside world to being a woman, to being a successful woman, because ultimately you get the label of, oh, she's so masculine, she's so controlling, but not that many people see the underneath those layers, why they become so masculine, why they become so controlling. And for a woman to actually step into their feminine energy, which is their ultimate power, that means all those layers needs to be peeled off. And that's really hard, because they don't know what's going to come underneath it, because they haven't seen that woman they truly are, in a way that little girl they had, that innocence or that feminine, that playful woman they had for so long, because they had to be so strong for various reasons. So like you said, I'm not I could never call myself as an expert, so that's my project now. I'm working quite closer with quite a lot of women at the moment, because that's what I mean, that I don't want to do in social media this time, because I really want to create this very safe space, not for everyone. Yes, it's open for everyone, but creating that safe space for 50, 60 women is more challenging. So I want to do it in small groups, maximum like maybe 25, maximum. I mean, I wouldn't go more than 30, because I want everyone to be able to share. I want everyone to feel safe. I want every woman there to feel connected with each other as well. Because I think when it's the interesting thing I noticed that it's a brotherhood, and there's something called like sisterhood as well. But sisterhood, it's because of the past experiences women have, that it's much weaker. Even though on the outside it looks really solid, but underneath it's quite weaker. And I actually want to work on that a little bit more. I want to build that trust and confidence in each woman, not just with themselves, but with fellow women as well.
Wow.
And for me, that I actually have decided the first date as well, I'm reaching out to personally each woman that I know for a fact that they're going to be interested. So like I said, I'm just going to do it outside of the social media, so then they really feel it's okay for them to turn up. Doesn't matter what kind of position they might have, but they're going to be accepted, and it's okay for them to be vulnerable. Because while doing masculine and feminine so publicly in social media was amazing, because that's how we get a lot of people turn up. It wasn't actually, we didn't do it on purpose. We just put one photo, people got really excited about it, and then they wanted to attend, which was great. But what I realized, that since it was really good to have big groups, the energy wasn't right. It was very difficult to many people to open up the level I want them to open up. And it was great that when we done the workshop, because I said no Facebook Lives, no photos, so then you can feel safe. So that's, I want to experiment that, and I would just want to do on the side and just see how it works. Because like I said, many people want that to be part of it, but they're very conscious for the fact that, are they going to the photos on social media? Is everybody going to find out about them? Is it going to be too packed, if it makes sense? So I just want to create a separate platform and see how is that going to turn out.
Awesome.
Sorry, it was a really long answer for you.
No, you're getting me right into there, because everything you said is powerful. It is power. And what you're doing, you not only you're giving that safe space, you're making it exclusive. It's an exclusivity kind of thing. And that space, no cameras, no nothing. And especially you come from a place, you've been in the corporate world, in the accounting world, now you're doing your coaching, and also you're the mentor now, because you're balancing that life. You are balancing. So you are showing that little girl, which a lot of people, what happens is the conditioning in the city, and we use the city corporate world as the conditioning, and then they wear this cloak. And when they wear that cloak, their authentic self is not showing. And you know what? When I'm not even lying to you, I get goosebumps when I'm talking about this, because something needs to be done. Because there are some powerful women. I've got really good friends in big companies like Goldman Sachs, Ernst Young, and places like that. I knew them when they were younger. They were a different character. They were lovable. They had that feminine side to them. But now that they've gone into the city for so long, even in social gatherings, they've got that, they have to put on that shoulder and that cloak. And it's not right. It's absolutely not right, because I know deep down there's so much more to shine. And I'm so proud and I'm so happy, and I don't even know the words that I was going to say, because that's what I'm doing for the men. And you're doing that for the women, and I'm going to create an amazing energy for people. And there's so many people doing it out there. It's all the same message, just delivered differently. So I'm going to divert off a little bit now. Self-love.
Self-love, oh God.
Self-love. You know what? This is with everybody that I've coached, everybody I speak to on a friend's basis, they find it really, really hard, the self-love. And what advice can you give to somebody that finds it really hard to find self-love and loving themselves?
First of all, I would say no one ever going to master self-love. No one ever going to, there is no level 100 that, yeah, I mastered self-love. I know how to figure out, I figured it all out. Because self-love, when we're born with self-love, because we don't have the awareness that there is any other way. Because when you think about it, when you're a baby, it's all about you, you're looked after, you're loved. You never question that if, you know, I'm talking about up to a certain age. You never question that if your mom and dad love you. You never question that if you're enough. You never question that, oh, you have to do this, so then you'll be loved. But I think it's like age of 4 or 5, we start to get conditioned. So think about it. If someone is 30 years old, right? that 26 years old conditioning from the family, from the society, from work, from school, from friends. It doesn't matter how much work you do on yourself. Everybody goes through at one stage. It's like, oh, am I good enough? Can I actually do this? Am I lovable? And even when you look at the most successful people, and I'm not saying like most successful people who are okay with being vulnerable, when you listen to them, even they go through, am I enough? So one thing that I always say, that there is no mastery on self-love. There is no course, 21 days course, and you do it and then like, yeah, I got the self-love. Or there is no retreat, there is no meetup, there is no coaching that, you go like, oh, you had 0 self-love and then suddenly you hit 10. You need to work on it all the time. And that's, for me, it's really important, because then people do understand, with awareness and understand, they can ask the right questions, and then they can constantly keep themselves in check. Because yes, maybe you don't have self-love, and then that triggered by your experience at work, for example, and you've done coaching, you've done work on that, and you feel great at work that you got the self-love. It's really good, right? And then you get into a relationship, that confident person figured out, and the relationship becomes so vulnerable. And then they start to think, am I lovable? Am I good enough for this relationship? Does my partner really loves me? So that's a different side of it. But when you understand where is it coming from, you can actually work on yourself all the time. But it's, for me, that the self-love it's something so important. I wish that people actually start to teach it in the school, because everybody tells you that when you go to school that how to do maths and geography and physics and things like that. But when it comes to our mindset, when it comes to how to love ourselves, no one actually teaches you that. No one. And people, when you actually work on yourself with self-love, sometimes you get labeled as you have ego. It's all about you. But then, so there's a difference, if it makes sense. Like self-love, for me, that's like huge topic that, I could talk about it whole day, and I still would have so many things to learn, because I'm still learning every single day, the things about myself, the things about my clients, and the psychologist side of it, through my partner, to energy side of it, to healing side of it. It's very, very complex. But what I would say, that the main thing, we need to learn to be kind to ourselves. That is so important for self-love, because we've been judged all through our lives in so many different ways. It's really easy to judge ourselves. So the important part, that we really need to be kind with ourselves. We need to, we need to acknowledge ourselves, that we, who we are, our mistakes, the things that maybe we've done and we failed in the past. It's okay. Because for me, that self-love actually goes hand in hand with self-acceptance as well.
Definitely. They go
I don't know if it actually helps. It's one of those topics that, I can't just say like read my book or just read my blog and go through these steps and do that, because you can go through those steps and for one thing, and then, like I said, you get into the relationships, everything goes like, whoa, I did not know I had that many insecurities. I did not know that I didn't love myself. I did not know this one. And then you could start a business, then you could start, you could just find out so many different things about yourself. You could get married, and then you could find out. You could get a new job, you could find out. You could move to another country, you could find that out, So it's like, it's really complex. But it's just be kind to yourselves, that's really important. And if you already understand that your lack of self-love, you have the awareness, that means you can do something about it. And what I would say, the times that you say something happens, you react in a way, or it makes you feel really insecure. It makes you feel, or you end up saying that, yeah, I kind of expected this, typical, because I'm not lovable, I'm not worth it. Just ask yourself, where is that coming from?
Wow.
And it's very scary. It's very, very scary to go there, because it's like open a whole can of worms. That's why people in the society, rather than questioning where those emotions coming from, where those feelings coming from, because they know it's really hard, they start to numb themselves with alcohol, with drugs, with food, or different things, to spending money. There's a lot of people numbing themselves because they don't want to go there. But if you don't go there, which is not easy, you're never going to achieve the level of happiness or contentment you want to. But when you go there, I keep saying that it's not difficult. I don't want to scare people. There's actually, when you go there, when you figure out, the rest of it gets much easier. Because the next time when you go through the similar thing, you're going to be like, oh, okay, it's the same thing happening again. So where's this coming from? It's not going to be as painful as it is, like it was at the beginning. So it's just a self-worth. It's a lot of self-awareness. You just need to ask yourself, like, where is that emotions coming from? And one question I really love, and I use this with my clients as well, with myself as well. This is like, I learned it from Byron Katie. You probably know that she's one of the top coaches. She actually coaches Steve Hardison. She says, her question is that an assumption or is it a fact? So when something is like, we think, oh, that person does that because that person doesn't love us, or it's because we're not lovable, I would invite anyone to ask the question, say, is that an assumption or is it a fact? Most of the time it's an assumption. If it's an assumption, that means it's not in our head. We got nothing to back that up.
Wow. And you just talked about how people seek the pleasure from something else. And this is what a lot of people don't realize, that majority, 90% of addictions stems from this. It doesn't stem from the drug being good, the coffee being good, the cigarette being good. No, it's people, when they're taking it, that's when they feel good. And this is what I need to say to people as well. You need to get rid of it. You need to find out what is causing that internal issues. I've dealt with all these issues throughout my life until 5 years ago. So it was 34 years of my life. The insecurity, was I good enough? I've never had love prior to that, real love. And it's a really difficult stage to go through your life. And if you are questioning it, do you know what you need to do? Hook up with Dilara. Hook up with other people. There are other coaches. She's here now, that's why I'm mentioning her name. I'm here as well. You can hook up with anybody. So many amazing coaches out there. So talking about the self-love again, the other issue that people seems to find when it comes to self-love, they see it as something narcissistic, which is really, it's not. At the beginning, when I started self-love, I started feeling that way. I started feeling that I was a selfish person. How can we deal with that feeling?
Well, let's put it this way. I want to give these examples in the relationship side of it, because obviously that's like my area. I found it much easier to explain it as well. Say that if you think that you're narcissistic being in a relationship, okay, that's one of the reasons that when you look at a lot of women, maybe not in the UK, but when you look at the third world countries where it's all about men, because they've been conditioned that they need to do everything for men, for example, right? Or while we grow up, we always feel like when we do things for other people, they get happy and then we get happiness, right? Because if you think about yourself, that means you're actually being selfish. But when you look at truly, truly healthy relationships, two people have a healthy level of self-esteem and self-love, because they have the awareness that if you don't love yourself, or you don't have that self-confidence or self-acceptance, you should have to be able to have a healthy relationship, you are going to seek that from your partner. What happens that if your partner can't give that to you? So you're going to feel, you are going to be needy. You're going to seek from other person. And let's say this is always happens at the beginning of the relationship, that the honeymoon period, I called, which is most of the relationships have, say in the first 2 months or 3 months, like you do everything for each other, right? So then you feel great about yourself because like you are with this person, does everything for you, you feel loved, and just you want to meet up, and then that person is always available, so you feel good. So then relationship becomes not, that honeymoon period ends. If you like, you hit the reality, and this is the part that it actually shows that if your relationship is strong enough to continue, then your partners start to think about the stuff they want to do, and it might not be including you, but not because they don't want to be with you. It's the things that they want to do for themselves, right? It's hard for everyone. It's not easy, because you're used to that. And then if your partners need to do that, suddenly start to make you feel like your partner doesn't love you. That's it. Relationship has changed. Like you knew it was going to be like this. It was too good to be true. See, that's the problem, that you need to work on yourself with your self-love and self-acceptance and self-worth. But if you had this healthy self-esteem, you'd be like, okay, I completely understand. This is my partner right now. That's what my partner needs to do. And I will respect that. And I understand that. I'm going to give my partner that space he or she needs, right? That's a healthy self-esteem. So your partner's need to be on his own or on her own for maybe a couple of days, or maybe go away on her own or on his own. It's not your partner is being selfish. Your partner is very honest with you and sharing and say, look, I love you very much, but I need just a little bit of space. It's nothing to do with you. This is who I am. This is how I charge. I feel like I'm recharged my batteries, but I still love you. And when he goes back, he will come back loving you even more, right? He's not being selfish. But if you're in a relationship and thinking, why do you need to go away? Why do you need to have this space? I don't feel that way. This is one of the things that it's very challenging in men and women as well, because men always seek for freedom. Women, we always look for connection, right? It's just one of the two key needs we have. So then a woman could be like, oh, if you really love me, you wouldn't go away. What would you need 2 days away? That's not healthy self-esteem, because you feel like your partner have to be with you all the time, then you feel content, right? So we need to work on ourselves individually to become a level that no matter what happens, we don't question the relationship. We don't need to get into the relationships with the expectations that our partner going to love us, so then we can love ourselves. Because most of the people seeking relationships, seeking for acceptance, seeking for attention, because they don't feel like they have it themselves. And that's the time that people become really attached to the relationships. There are healthy attachment, there are unhealthy attachment in the relationships as well. But I always say for example, when my clients start to work with me, if they're single, I always tell them no dating, at least for a month. We're just going to work on yourself first. We're just going to focus, what do you want? What makes you happy? What's your vision? What are your what is your values? What are they? What are your love languages? What is that perfect relationship looks like? What do you want from your perfect man or woman? Are you the person that your ideal man would want to be with? So then we actually I get them in a level, not I get them, we work together, that they're in a certain healthy self-esteem. They're not seeking for a relationship coming from a lack space, but they're coming from an abundance place, because they're so content, they're so fulfilled with themselves. They know there's an abundance, the abundance of love. There's abundance of amazing people out there. There's not a lack. But that only happens that when you actually bring yourself to the healthy space. It's the same thing, like if I can easily give an example with my relationship. I decided, I think it was like year 2010, mid 2010, that I didn't want to be in a relationship because I didn't want my heart to be broken. So I was still like going out dates, but I was doing all that, my heart closed, because I made a decision somewhere that I couldn't trust men. You know, they don't have my back, and it's never going to turn into something special. So then I decided to just work on myself. But then recently I started, you know, I'm in a relationship with this amazing man, and I love the fact that he's very into personal development, but he's more about self-awareness rather than self-love. And there's one example that I want to give it to people in here, because I heard it from him first, and it's so true. It doesn't matter how much you might work on your self-love. Say like I work on myself 6 years, right? So this is a cup of glass, like a cup of water, let's say it's me. So every emotions I had, I put in a logic, because I work on myself, I accepted and blah blah blah. So everything went to the at the bottom of it, it's settled, right? So let's say he's done the same thing. So then you get into a relationship, you throw the waters, like they all mix up. So all my insecurities, all my abandonment issues, anything I had from the past come to the surface. But I didn't know that until I get into a relationship. As far as I know, I'm really good, I'm good, content, I've done my personal development, look at me, you know, like I'm a coach, life is great, I've figured out. No, until I get into a relationship, until actually someone just pushed me to bring all those emotions, which I didn't know it was actually like lying inside of me, I didn't know they were there. So then I just realized that I had to do more work on my self-love, that to accept the fact that it's okay, not that I didn't actually done enough work, but it was more I didn't have the awareness. So I didn't know better. So, you know, when you know better, you do better. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's what I said, the most important thing, that people need to be kind to themselves, because each work they're going to do on themselves, particularly when you start to ask some quite honest questions to yourself, the answer is going to be honest, and you might not like it, but you need to have the courage to go there. And also you need to be very kind to yourself, whatever the answer might come up from there.
Wow. Just one little question I asked you, and you gave us so much.
Sorry.
No, don't say sorry. There's no need for apology. You're giving, serving. Thank you so much.
This topic is so complicated.
I know, and I love it so much, because my previous relationship, I was in a relationship for 10 years, a relationship of blame and blah, blah, blah. It was disgusting. That's what I call it, disgusting. But now I'm in a relationship for the last 5 years. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's everything that you've said. When my wife wants to do something, she goes and do her stuff. When I want to do something, just 2-3 nights ago, I said, babe, I'll be going over to this country for 3 weeks. I'm going to be leaving you with the kids. You're going to be okay with that. It's something that you've got to do. It's something that you've got to do in your journey. It's fine. Go ahead. I said, well, me feeling that way, I started feeling guilty. And I said to her, well, you guys can come the last 3 days. And she just hit it back at me. Oh, are you feeling bad now? Are you feeling bad that you're leaving us? But that's the relationship we have. And she's my best friend, first and foremost, before even the amorous part of it comes in. She's my best friend. When I come home, it's that I can come home, not to my wife. That point in time, I'm coming to my best friend. This is what I need to talk to you about. Yep, she won't be like the wife. Oh, oh, what are you doing, blah, blah, blah. No, she'll understand you. And it's absolutely beautiful to have. And also you become the people that you attract. If you want the relationship or you're dating, you're attracting the person that you're thinking inside anyway. It goes back to the woman that goes to her therapist and says, do you know what? I keep getting husbands, married. I keep getting married men, every man that I meet. The therapist says, what are you asking the universe? And she says to the universe, I want a husband. I want a husband. So what does she get? She just keeps getting the married men. And if what you want to attract in relationship, that's exactly what you said, is become that person yourself. Because how can you expect that from someone else and you're not giving that? But you expect a lot more. Thank you so much. And we've run out of time and I've let you run for 5 more minutes. I always let my guests who are giving phenomenal value, and most of my guests are running over anyway. Thank you so much for what you've told us. Thank you for...
You're welcome. Pleasure.
Thank you. And how can people link up with you? What are your websites, your Facebook and stuff?
Well, they can go to my website and then they can find my Facebook account and Instagram from there as well. I'm very, very active, and it's basically my social choice of social media platform is Facebook. That's where they can find events as well. My website is www.dilaratetik.com. It's just my name and surname basically in .com. So they can find everything from there, and then they can follow me or add me on Facebook, and they can find all the activities there.
Brilliant. Thank you. Guys, if you need relationship advice, you need anything to do with relationship, with masculine, feminine energy, Dilara and her partner, is it Faisal?
Yeah, it was Faisal. Now I'm doing with my actual life partner as well, my boyfriend Duke Sayer, because he does more energy and healing side of it.
Okay, we were talking about him yesterday actually.
Were you?
Me and Luke Scott.
Yeah, Duke is like he's going to be the next big thing. His skills are pretty amazing. Yeah, you should really have him on your podcast as well. He always delivers in value as well.
Let's make this happen. Let's make this happen.
Definitely get in touch with him. His stuff is not. I don't know anyone talking about the stuff that he talks about, and he knows.
And amazing. So this is going to be a different podcast, but the reason we got talking is the charity side of things has got the same vision as me, so I'm not going to go through that. I'm going to get him to talk about that. Thank you so much, Dilara. Is there anything you want to say to our viewers?
Just be kind to yourselves, really, and if you have any challenges, ask yourself. If for me, it's all about. You just need to know yourself first, but also you need to be very kind to yourselves.
Brilliant. Know thyself and be kind to yourself, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Yutamar Mirage, straight from the heart. I'm going to be signing out now. As always, I'll say to you guys that live well with one another, because if we don't, what is the point? Have a wonderful evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Straight from the heart.